Hello, everyone. I am Nick Bonanno. I am a producer for the United Wrestling Network and the Senior Official. I am sitting here today about to talk with the Masterpiece, Chris Masters. Chris, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing very well considering the circumstances of the world right now. And I'm thanks for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for joining us. And my co-host for this evening is United Wrestling Network executive Rick Bassman.
Hey, Nick, Chris, always good to see both you guys.
Yeah, Rick, it's been a minute since I've seen you. Good to have you back on the stream here.
Oh man, this is cool, Nick. I think the last time was when your debut show. You and I kind of
that's right,
invented the United podcast, and here we are. This is great.
Here we are, back together again.
All right.
Well, I guess I'm curious because I haven't talked to both of you at the same time before. How did the two of you meet, you and Chris?
Oh, we met on a Chippendales audition. Actually,
no. What was it? Yeah, Rick. I was like 15 years old, and I came in I've heard about Rick's school, UPW, and so my mom found out I was backyard wrestling, and she was just like, oh hell no. So she was like, if you really are dead set on doing this, you're going to get some real training. So we ended up going to UPW down in Huntington Beach, and that was the first time I met Rick.
Excellent. Oops.
What is that noise?
Rick, can you mute your microphone if you're not talking? I think we're catching a little bit of the background there.
Yeah, you probably are, guys. I apologize. We have a deck being built behind us here. And I was pointing to Nick, Chris, before we got on air, that when you're in Hawaii, on the rare occasion you actually get workers to show up, you don't want to stop them because they'll never come back. So apologies for the interference. And I will mute when I am not talking. Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. I'd say, but before we meet you there, Rick, so Chris comes into your school. What is your first impression of who would be Chris Masters?
Oh God, Chris, you've heard this. You've heard this before. I know this isn't Chris's favorite story.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, man. I mean, look, I want to say this before I tell you. Chris is our friends today, and I'm happy to say that. And I truly do think the world of the guy. You know, for as much HIT as I've always given you and still do, I love you and like you both. I know you know that.
Mm-hmm. I do.
When he walked in, he was like a fat 15-year-old kid with no personality.
Really?
It's the truth, man. Yeah, and you look at him now, and it's like he was a good guy. And you could tell then, right from the get-go, you knew that he had a good heart. You could tell. Some people show up in a school, and they act polite. Others people are genuinely good people, and Chris was that. I do remember that, believe it or not, with the thousands of people that came through the doors. I do remember that. But physically, and in terms of any kind of outgoing personality, he was like the last guy in the world you ever thought would make it as a pro wrestler. So there you go.
Yeah, I was shy. You know, like I was a shy kid, especially in that atmosphere that you had there, Rick, because you had all these larger than life guys. I mean, UPW was unlike any other school. You walked in there, and I mean, it was the circus. You had, big bodybuilders, giants. I mean, you just had everything that you would expect out of professional wrestling. It was pretty amazing. And it was a real kind of wake-up call for me because, I was never really a fat kid. Like, Rick talks about how he came in fat. I was fat, but I was a skinny kid trying to put on weight. So somebody had told me to just eat as much as you can. Like, that was the trick. So I really kind of took that verbatim, and I just ate all day, every day, still weight trained. But, my face was out to here. I had a tire around my waist. It was pretty bad, yeah. And I didn't even realize it till one day. I was just like, oh my gosh, I think I got to drop a few pounds.
Yes, when John Cena first showed up backstage at UPW, you didn't have to be a genius to look at him and go, wow, that guy's got it. That was not your first impression of the later superstar to become the Masterpiece.
Oh no, you know what though? The wake up call is I'll always remember this. When I came there, I noticed Cena, of course, because I think we started like the same day, and then I also noticed Bad Boy Basil, rest in peace. And you know there, I mean, it wasn't you grew up on Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, all these guys anyway. So you know, for me, just being a 15-year-old kid, it made me realize like, oh, I got a lot more work to put in on this aspect of my game and like, sure, I need to train to wrestle, but you know, really, I got to get like closer to what these guys look like in order to have a realistic shot. So, you know, after I got injured on that first stint, I got injured like 4 months in. I fractured my ankle, and then I had surgery on it, and then I just took a couple of years off. But I always knew that I was going to come back to Rick once it was time to get this thing going again. I just know that I was too young. You know what I mean? It's a waste of time. I already got hurt and I really needed to work on physically maturing and you know, really mentally maturing a little bit.
Of course.
And Nick,
I guess about?
I'm sorry. I just want to interject quickly. I'll tell you that when Chris did walk back in a couple of years later, it was legitimately shocking. I mean, I did not believe it was the same human being. Put it that way. Anyway, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, so with the time away from the school, what was it about Rick's school that attracted you back to that specific place when, you know, you could have traveled to, say, another wrestling school or another promotion?
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, I mean, the most obvious thing is I'm a Southern California resident, born and raised. And Rick, I mean, there were other schools out here, but Rick's was the first one I became aware of. And it just happened to be the exact right one for me because I never had any goals of going to Japan or any place else other than the WWE. And Rick was directly connected with them. They would come down and look at his talent. He would have UPW. They would have UPW talent at the TV tapings when they were here, or even at house shows. You know, just to come sometimes and get in the ring before the show. So, I mean, it was just there was nowhere else to go. Rick's, Bassman's. If you want to be a WWE superstar and you lived in Southern California, UPW was the spot, and Rick Bassman was the guy. So that was just it.
So there are many things that it takes to get to that next level. One that I would think is very important would be kind of learning how to be a television wrestler. And so how would you say, if you would say that your development to become more of a television-based wrestler from, say, just a local competitor, I guess what got you to that next level to work with television?
You know, it was definitely going down to like, you know, it was working on television, like in OVW, because like, you know, we had a weekly television show every Wednesday night. And it was kind of like the first real experience. You know, UPW had huge shows. Like they were like some of the most fun shows I've ever been to. But we were never under time constraints at UPW for the most part. And everybody, and it wasn't really about that either. I mean, for most of the people at UPW, it was about development, you know, and, you know, we weren't necessarily trying to hit times or anything like that. But with OVW, with TV, eventually you had to start getting used to like hitting hard times, which that's one of the biggest things is just getting used to being able to time a segment, you know, and like you're only given a certain amount of time and it's very important, if not imperative that you hit those times, especially when you're on live television. And, you know, not to mention just, you know, through repetition, obviously knowing where the cameras are, always knowing where the hard cam is and learning that aspect of it, which still to this day I forget a lot. But I mean, I am on the independent circuit, so you don't always expect these independent shows to have a hard cam or to have, you know what I mean, to have this stuff. But every once in a while they do. So, I mean, you know, those are the two kind of main learning things is learning how to kind of find that camera and then also learning how to hit times. That's the only thing that it would separate kind of like what you're saying with your question, TV wrestling from anything else.
Yeah, Chris, you know, I think you're gonna be blown away when you do join us and do some stuff with United Wrestling and with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. No, Nick, that was a good question. UPW was a lot of things, and you know, there was even a time when people said, "Oh, you're the number one. UPW is the number one indie in the country," whatever that means or whatever it's for. Sure, but one thing we weren't. is we were not a television company. We had little TV deals every now and then. We shot our shows on DVD, and they were in Walmart and Target and all that. But no, we, starting with me on down, we didn't teach people how to get ready for television. And Chris, I think that with your experience being out and about now, and sometimes running across companies that do that, I think you're going to be absolutely blown away when you hopefully do get on camera for us over at United. Because Nick and Dave Marquez and that crew, in my humble opinion, absolutely set the standard for that in today's climate. And as a matter of fact, when with the whole COVID thing and the empty arena deal going on, I almost challenge you to see the difference in production between what WWE and AEW are doing and what United is doing. It's like the same caliber for sure. So I look forward to seeing you in that environment, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I'm not shocked by that. I know, just seeing what Dave Marquez has done over the years, from a distance. I mean, he really has, he's got his formula and his production down right. And it always makes his product look professional. And, that's the thing missing with a lot of wrestling companies. And it's one thing that WWE does absolutely right, regardless of, what people say, is they're always really good about that stuff. The product looks real good. And, that wasn't always in the case. The Impact Wrestling does not look very good most of the time. You know what I mean? And granted, I know it's there's a budget thing there. There's money that's involved there, and that's the reason why. But, I mean, even when they were trying and they had the money, they just didn't have the production down. They didn't have all that stuff down.
Got a comment from our friends over on Facebook here. Former Arizona State champion Gino Rivera, Gino Told You So, says, "Hi, Chris. It's Gino. Have you worked with Gino at all?"
Oh, yeah, I know Gino. I think if that's the Gino I'm thinking, I think that's the Gino I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Puerto Rican kid. Yeah.
He's probably, we've worked for this promotion in Arizona called quite a few times. What was it called? Oh, Cactus League Wrestling, if it's the Gino I'm thinking of. And he's an extraordinary heel professional wrestler, very entertaining.
I think that is that same Gino. For the United Wrestling Network, he was, I think, our longest reigning Arizona champion. So That's Gino. As a little, had a face he loved to slap, and many people tried, and for a long time they couldn't get their hands on him. So thank you, Gino, for joining us tonight.
He's a funny dude too. I've been in the car with him a few times, and good dude. I didn't say so though. I don't want to ruin his reputation.
Well, I guess connecting that back to with United and with you, we're hoping not only to get you on and maybe in a competitive standpoint, but also as a on-air personality with United, either through our social media or some other avenues that we're doing. How are you looking forward to being more of a host in addition to your talents in the ring?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
Sorry. Are you looking forward to being a on-air personality in addition to being a wrestler? Or is that something you're looking to expand into more so?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm open to anything. I mean, any way I can kind of contribute would be good. I mean, I've always used to being an active competitor, but I mean, I don't feel like that's the only thing I offer to the wrestling business nowadays, or I could offer to the wrestling business nowadays. I'd be completely open to, like you're saying, on-screen personality, but not even just that. I mean, even if, somebody needs a producer for a match, like, just
of course.
The creative process, and I'm not saying the writing team or anything like that, but the creative process of putting wrestling matches together, that's what interests me. And that's what, it'd be a lot of fun for me to help out maybe younger talent. Not to say that they're not already really skilled and, have their stuff down, but as far as just making sure everything they're doing makes sense and is in the right places, you know what I mean? Because that's the one issue I've seen with a lot of younger talent is they can jump out of the gym and they're athletic and skilled, but they don't always know where to put the stuff. And it's not always they throw a lot of stuff away by not selling it and stuff of that nature.
Do you find that the people that you are on shows with now that are maybe coming from that mindset, are they receptive to that kind of maybe not criticism, but constructive additions to their matches, or how are you finding that interaction with the younger generation?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, they might not be receptive of it, and they're just, really putting on a good facade. But for the most part, most of the shows I go to, when I'm working like the independent circuit, I'll have somebody there who either requests me to watch the match or they ask for my feedback after the
Mm-hmm.
match. So, I just try to be helpful when I can, but I don't make it a point to watch everybody's match. You know what I mean? Like if somebody
Mm-hmm.
specifically comes to me and ask me to watch it, I'll make a good effort to do so. And I'll give them whatever kind of stands out in mind that I see from it. It's like over the past 10 years, I've done a ton of wrestling seminars as well. So, I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it just that kind of stuff is easy now because I've been doing this for 18 years. Like I can run a wrestling seminar, no problem. I can put two guys in the ring and watch them work for just a couple minutes and come up with a bunch of constructive criticism and feedback for them. And it's easy because it's all I've ever done. You know what I mean? Like this is my one
Mm-hmm.
job qualification. So and I do enjoy it to some extent.
Excellent. So a couple months ago, before things kind of went into shutdown, I was on a show with you where you wrestled a match against Orange Cassidy. So
Yeah.
anyone not, and I found that to be very, very entertaining. Where you mostly going for the master lock, and he's trying to escape by putting his hands into his pockets there.
Yeah.
I guess when you're, going into planning a match or trying to oversee things for someone from the more current indie style, does anything really change in terms of your role in either the locker room or the ring?
No. I mean, even with Orange Cassidy, Orange Cassidy, the only, when you're with a gimmick like that or a character like that, it's like you want to kind of work around them because, like a match with Orange Cassidy is not going to be like a match with anybody else in this business. And he has
Of course.
specific things he does. It's very, and I've said this to a few people, or to anybody who listen. I mean, Orange Cassidy was probably the easiest, best match I've ever had. Just like in terms of the crowd reaction, like I couldn't believe how over he was. Like I had no idea. Like honestly, I'm kind of out of step with current professional wrestling. All I know is what I see on Instagram, so that doesn't really give me too much information. But I had seen Orange Cassidy a few times in pictures and whatnot. I knew he's a part of AEW, but when he made his entrance at Bar Wrestling, it was unbelievable. Like the place went absolutely insane. And, we worked a match that kind of worked around his gimmick and what he does and making sure there was a spot where, the orange juice comes into play and he tries to get the orange juice, kind of like Carlito would with his apple in a lot of the matches I have. So, and because I mean, you kind of know what I'm bringing to a match like that. Like if it's me versus Orange Cassidy, I'm the heel. I'm the bigger, stronger, more kind of bully type character, more, and he's gonna, I'm gonna have to slip on a banana peel when it comes to working him and stuff like that, and he's gonna have to dodge me, and we're gonna have to work around his gimmick a little bit to make sure he does his Orange Cassidy stuff, and that's what we did, and the people loved it, and it was absolutely the easiest match I've ever done, and it was fun.
Beautiful.
And I'm not dogging it. I know Jim Cornette likes to come a lot of these guys, and I get where he's coming from. I love that I mentioned Jim Cornette in a Rick Bassman podcast. Oh, that's got to be. But it is entertainment. You know what I mean? And I think enough people know that this isn't a shoot now to where there is some creative liberties. With some of this stuff. And there always has been. But I guess there's an argument to what extent, you know what I mean? Like, is the dick flip okay? Obviously, it's not okay anymore. We know that. I was never cool with that whole thing, honestly. But obviously, that whole news was shocking. We don't need to get into that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because Chris, you gave me an opening when you said that, of course, and you're shocked I didn't take it, right? Come on, man.
Yeah.
I know that's your single favorite move in the history of pro wrestling. You can go.
Oh yeah, I love it. I take it every night if I could.
There you go. Where can I go with that? You win, touche. All right.
Well, going back to the chat right now, we have a comment from Mel Cervantes, who I believe is very close with NWA Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa.
Cool.
So hello, Mel.
I think
UFC fighter.
I would say that Mel Cervantes is Thunder Rosa's alter ego. If you want to get down to it, that would be my good pal and yours, Thunder Rosa, saying, "Hey guys, hey Mel."
Oh really?
Yes, it is.
Hey, she's a badass.
She's awesome. I love her. They'll let anybody on Facebook, won't they, Melissa? Wow.
Let's see.
You should invite Thunder Rosa in the room to say hello for a second if you feel like it, Nick. Your show. But
I have to get her into chat here. Let's see.
Chris, is that cool with you?
Of course. I got no beef.
I didn't think you would.
I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if I can get her in. In the meantime, I'll send her a message to see if we can get her in. But let's see.
Women do not like to come on camera abruptly. That's one thing I will tell you. And I'm not singling out Thunder Rosa. I'm just saying women.
Uh-oh. That sounds like fighting words, Melissa. Did you hear that?
It's not a challenge.
Chris, I want to get a little controversy and heat going here, man. We can blow
this. I know you always do. You always drive on it.
I'm bored here on Maui. What can I say? A little bit of who do you like? So you're not watching the TV these days, huh?
No. I mean, no, I haven't sat through a TV in ages. I mean, I know relatively what's going on because I'm on social media enough to get the gist of it. But no, I mean, I don't even have a cable set up. I mean, I stream everything, and I don't have WWE Network, so I pay attention to it just enough. But I mean, in my book, any wrestling I watch for the most part is old wrestling. It's from way back in the day before I was in it. That's the stuff I'm entertained by. I'm not entertained by wrestling of my generation or this generation, quite frankly.
All right. Let's have to ask from a fan perspective. Who are a couple of your favorites from the time period that you watch?
Oh, Shawn Michaels and Ultimate Warrior, absolutely. But I mean, Ultimate Warrior got me watching, and then he was in and out a lot, as everybody pretty much knows. And but I appreciated Shawn Michaels from the minute he turned singles and turned on Marty. There was just something about him that I enjoyed. And I mean, you look back at his career, and he's the greatest of all time in my book. I mean, and he was a wonderful experience to work with. I was very thankful to get that opportunity.
What was that like the first time? So you grow up being like obviously a huge fan of his, and then all these years later, you're actually in the ring working with him. What was that first time like? Do you remember?
It was scary because you don't want to mess up, but it was also very exciting. You know what I mean? And it became really fun eventually because not only did I get to work the 1 month program with him, but I worked him on house shows pretty much that whole year. So you can imagine I probably had 30 to 50 different matches with him, whether it be singles or tags. And, eventually once he became comfortable with me and I became comfortable with him, I mean, literally he let me call our matches after we worked a couple of times, and then he gave me the green light to call our matches while we were out there, like in the whole match. You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't say a thing and he would give me feedback at the end, essentially. And that's the kind of trust he had put into me. And it was just the most fantastic learning experience. I mean, to have the best worker in the business put that kind of faith in you, that installs a lot of confidence in you. And then for you to do a pretty all right job with it and him not have much in terms of complaints. I mean, he'd always have some kind of good criticism, but, I was able to do it. And, it was just, a dream come true. I mean, there were times when I would make my entrance and then I'd be in the ring, his music would hit and like the fan would kind of come out, and the goosebumps would come out. And then, but eventually you kind of snap out of it and you realize that like, okay, I have to hang with this person. I have to compete. I have to perform. And, that stuff kind of washes away because, you have to, rise to the occasion of the moment.
That's awesome, man. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut in real quick. Thunder Rosa, if you're still watching, please check your Facebook messages, and you can jump on with us. Let's see.
I love it.
I got a comment in the comment section here from Todd Kennelly, a longtime broadcaster with the United Wrestling Network.
We love you, Todd.
And Nick, that just does go to show that they will let anybody on Facebook. That's what that means.
He says, I won't hold being a Warrior fan against you. Oh, thanks, brother. I bet you were a Warrior fan too, actually, and you're just closeted about it. But you know what? I mean, the Warrior was what he was. I mean, a lot of people criticize him, and I even kind of had a weird experience with him when I met him in Spain and worked with him in NWE. But when you look back at it, man, like that's one of the best characters and looks that professional wrestling has ever had. And the character didn't require him to be such a great in-ring worker either, really, did it? You know what I mean? Because he had so much of the other stuff that it didn't, as a kid, to me, it didn't really matter that his work style wasn't that of Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart. I was just like, wow, look at all these colors, look at his energy, look at the face paint, the music. I mean, when you got all that stuff, you don't have to be like, the best, in-ring catch-as-catch-can wrestler.
True enough.
True. Mm-hmm. Rick, I love this like sunburst that's coming in over your head on the video there. It looks very artsy.
Well, man, I gotta say, there's a couple of good things about it. One is it makes me kind of fade it out, and like I like to say, I always look better like from the distance in the dark with a filter on. So I'm happy for that. I have moved like 5 times since we started, and there's a reason that I don't do my podcast at this time of day, because my office here at home gets blown out at this hour. I'm like sweating bullets right now. It
looks like you have a really bad Instagram filter going on or something.
There's really little I can do about it, so bear with me, please.
Oh, you're all right.
Well, like they say often in wrestling, you turn a negative into a positive. So this is what we're able to do. We're able to make it feel like a filter, make it feel something brand new, very artsy, and on the cutting edge. So bravo, Mr. Bassman.
Nick, I knew you were the lead producer of United for a reason. You just showed us why. There you go.
I wish I could get Thunder Rosa on the line. I think we might have to reschedule with Miss Mel there. But I'd say as we're kind of closing down here, was there anything else, either Rick or Chris, that you wanted to kind of discuss between the two of you for what we're going to do to collaborate all as a whole unit in going into the future here? So I guess Rick.
I'm looking forward to seeing what that brings. Chris, I know we've talked about it a bit, but we haven't gotten into depth yet. And, I do know, again, as much as I like to give you a bad time, I think I do know what you have to offer. And I know you have a lot to offer. And I think it's going to be really cool seeing you in the United environment and just seeing what we can create, man. I look forward to it. I don't have anything specific in mind yet, but in a general sense, I have a very positive feeling about it.
Absolutely. I mean, I like all the parties involved and everything like that. I mean, it's just been a hellacious time in the world to do anything right now with everything that's been going on. And now coronavirus is spiking again. And I don't know, everything is just very challenging right now. But I do look forward to collaborating with you guys, Rick, Dave Marquez. I mean, even, I don't know if Todd is involved. Is Todd involved?
He is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you're getting the old band back together. I love it. So, I say, we've all worked together in the past. You know what I mean? There's a certain level of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's kind of a bond amongst all of us in the Southern California wrestling scene. So, and I think we at least trust each other for the most part. So, I enjoy, doing stuff with you guys and figuring all that stuff out.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Chris, where can we find you online?
Let's see. On Twitter, I am at Chris Adonis, and that's only because I can't change it for verification purposes. So at Chris Adonis, and Instagram is at Chris Masters 310.
Very cool. Same question, Rick. What you got? Where can we see you? Where can we hear you?
Best 2 spots. Personally, Instagram, and that's at Rick_Bassman, Bassman. And then also on my website, www.talking-tough.com. Thanks for the opportunity for the plug, Nick. Appreciate it, man.
Of course. As anyone watching can see, I am at Nicholas Bonanno, but make sure that you follow the United Wrestling Network online. So on Twitter, that is at United Wrestling, and then at United Wrestling Network on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, and shout out to everyone who networks with United.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.